first time ever.
Hear you loud and clearly.
And it was going place.
That stuff's great.
But the game is not a roguelike.
Boomer shooter.
Bang.
Hello, this is John St. John, and you're listening to KEEP in the Keep, bringing you all the hits from the finest in the world of gaming and entertainment. Now sit back and relax as the drowned god Cthulhu lulls your mind with the tastiest talk in town.
Welcome to another chapter of In the Keep podcast. I'm your very own prophet of the drowned god, the Motherlode. The Keep is a collective of gaming enthusiasts compelled by the drowned god Cthulhu to frag and jib one another into oblivion for all eternity. Alright, we are here with PapaScho, who is an absolutely, I was about to say amazing, but I want to say like interesting, if nothing else, really interesting YouTuber, because you found a strange little niche that brought you onto my radar pretty recently with the Retro Shooter series. Now there's 3 of them released, is that true?
Yeah, currently I'm working on the 4th one right now, and I'm quite excited for it, yeah.
So what sent you down that path? What made you decide that was a good idea?
Honestly, I have no idea. I started playing a few retro shooters. I think the first one I played was Ion Fury, and I really liked it. And I thought, I find it very impressive that, you know, we're in 2019 when that was released, and it's a game on the build engine, for God's sake. The build engine, is very old. It's pre-2000s, and I thought that was really interesting. It's the fact they've made a full-length game that fits into less than 100 meg of data. That really surprised me, and I thought that's really cool. And then I noticed there were more and more and more boomer shooters, if you will, coming out, and I thought, I'm going to have to do something about that.
So what were you doing prior to this? You're, if I'm not mistaken, about 22 years old? Yeah. So what put you into the gaming world in general?
Well, I've always been playing video games for as long as I can remember, honestly. But it was about 3-4 years ago now I decided to buy a PC and start gaming on a PC as opposed to on consoles, and I haven't looked back since, really.
Yeah, I'm kind of a similar story. I'm a little bit older than you, 25, but I'd played games. I had consoles and stupid shit like that. I just played PlayStation all my life and Nintendo, and I got out here, I moved from my home to here where I live now is Tucson, and I was just bored all the time after work. I'm like, what the fuck am I supposed to do with my time? And one of my friends, he was big into PC gaming, and he's just like, hey, we could just build you a computer. And I was like, that sounds fun. What would I do with that? You know, I could already play games on my PlayStation. Shit. What can that do that this can't? Little did I know. But I didn't have the money to buy one. So one day he just shows up to my house with a bunch of parts, and he's just I had all these extra parts laying around, and I was walking around outside of where I live, and somebody had left this tower on the side of the road, and it's a nice tower. And I was just okay, I don't know how to do this. And he's like, I'll walk you through every step. So my first PC, we built it. It was so much fun. And I've been, 100% all in ever since.
Yeah. It's just adult Lego.
That's what I tell everyone. It's exactly like putting together a Lego set. Except that if you fuck up or get some static electricity on it, it'll...
Cost it.
So what kind of games were you playing at that time?
Honestly, anything and everything. I've always said to myself, give every game and every genre a chance. You know, if I see a game and I'm like, that was kind of interesting, but I'm not into the whole this aspect or that aspect, I'll still give it a go. I'll give it a shot, see if I like it. If I do, great. If not, back into my libraries and never be played again, I guess.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of looking at things, because a lot of people will do that. It's that's just not my thing. And then, you know, it was always the same thing. I tell a friend about hey man, you got to check out this really cool band. And they're like, I don't know. It's just not. And then years later they come back and hey, have you heard of this band? I'm like, yeah, I told you about them 5 years ago.
Yeah.
Same thing with anything, art, TV, music, whatever, video games, obviously. And yeah, I respect that about you. And that aspect of your personality, I think, is kind of like what brought you to our little boomer shooter retro FPS community. So that's good, ultimately. And so I say all that to say, what is it about it other than, I mean, you've already mentioned a little bit about Ion Fury and like, it's like, oh, it's a small download. It's a relatively good price and all this. Like, what made you say, like, this is what I want to, like, I want to make they're all no less than 30 minutes long videos.
Yeah.
That's not easy. Like, that's hard work.
I just thought that, they're new games that are trying to be old school in the way they present themselves, but they do new things with each of their games, and each of them has their own little, I don't know how, probably not niche, but they've got their own little gimmicks and quirks. And I thought that's really interesting, and I thought that the love that people have put into these games is really something special, because you see AAA studios just pumping out game release after game release after game release, not caring about it, just hoping it'll make money. But these people put time and effort into their games, they craft it, and they make it as good as they possibly can. Then they put it on Steam, and they release it for like a couple of pounds, and you're just like, you really should be charging more for that. That's really good quality.
I have had many arguments on this show before with people, but you have to value your work, right? Like, you can't just, some of these guys, like 8 years of hard work into whatever it is they're doing, even open source stuff. I get irritated. Ande from Quake World fame was on here recently, and I was just like, dude, even though like you're not creating like a game that you're not able to monetize Quake World, the work you do for it has value, and like you should give people the opportunity, please, to just like support you. Because if you're putting he puts no less than 40 hours a week into Quake World and casting for Quake World and all this, like, dude, you're worth something. You're not just worth whatever Twitch is paying you. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry, you were saying.
No. I insist. You're the guest.
Yeah, I think that people put a lot of their time and effort and passion into these games, and that's why I decided to start, trying to bring them to more people, because I was playing them, I was really enjoying them. I was thinking to myself, no one of my friends has these games. And when I was in Discord chats with other people, I was like, "Hey, have you heard of this game?" And they're like, "No, I haven't heard of it. What is it?" I'm like, "Well, I've got a job to do."
It's interesting because you were already doing the YouTube thing prior to this.
Oh yeah,
pretty good. How many years?
Oh god, I started the channel when I was in high school, but I wasn't ever really serious about it. Then I got to college. I started doing a media course. I learned a lot about how to use Premiere Pro, Photoshop, and stuff like that, and that's helped me out massively. And I started to then think to myself, right, let's take it a little bit more seriously. But up until recently, my channel hadn't really got the traction that I'd aimed for.
Well, that warrants the hard work put into. Yeah, I get that, man. 100%. Like you mentioned, like learning Premiere and all that stuff. You went to school. You took a class in that. I was saying. So I just busted out. I had a shortcut for up until like last week, and I've been using that open source piece of shit forever. And now I'm just no schooling, just balls deep in trying to learn DaVinci, which is a whole different horse. But it is weird, like the different routes that people come into this stuff, because a lot of people really benefit from that kind of classroom setting, or whatever it is, if you're online, I guess nowadays. But I'm like autodidact all the way. I can't have someone else like formally teach me things. I have to just like get in there, get my hands dirty, get some grease on there, whatever, dirt between my fingernails, and see what happens. But I end up beating my head against the wall for a long time. So I totally get your pain. Yeah.
Just bear me 1 second. I hear someone's just come home, so I'm just going to tell them I'm podcasting.
No worries.
1 sec.
No.
Sorry about that. Just to make sure we didn't get the steps.
No problem.
Now I need to spray some links in here because the dog's farts are unbelievably smelly.
Should I leave that in?
If you want.
We'll
doesn't bother me.
But in terms of just beating your head against the wall for a long time, trying to figure out like, what is this thing I'm doing? How can I make something of it? Where do I even fit into this market? That kind of thing. Like when it started the fucking podcast thing, like I didn't know what the hell I was doing. And I definitely there was no reason for me to believe that there would be at the time this started, like, why would me, as uneducated as I was, think that anybody was going to care about a show to do with boomer shooters? And then lo and behold, like a couple years later, like Fred Schreiber's like, hey man, you're like the only guy that does this sort of shit. You want to be in Realm Steep? I'm like, okay, I guess. Yeah, of course.
I had a really similar thing on my channel where that first video took off and I'd never seen anything like it. It's not massive, in terms of, if you look at the landscape of YouTube, you see people with millions and millions of views, and you think to yourself, damn, that's impressive. I'm only at about 5,000 on my first video, which is not a lot, but it is to me. That's, must be, I'd say, about 10 times more than I'd ever get on any other video.
I watched it a couple of days ago, and I'm pretty sure it's like pushing 7 now. Like, that's the thing, is it's like exponential. It reaches a certain point, and then it goes and goes and goes, and then like you make another video, and then people watch it, and they're like, "Oh man, what else is this guy? Oh my god, there's part 1!" Like, and cascades. I mean, I'm not super successful on YouTube, and I don't really. I mean, I care to the extent that I want to reach people, but like, I don't intend for YouTube to make me money or anything like that. That's YouTube is like a commercial for the rest of what In the Keep does. But with that said, that's no small feat. Like, having 6,000 downloads on any video is compared to the relative market of what you're doing, huge. I mean, that's really amazing. And I don't think it's so important that you have Civi is a great example. G-Man, Icarus Lives, these guys, like they've been doing it for a long time. And Civi has great production. Like, they have a little bit of an edge, and plus hard work that's put them there. But I mean, over time, I think if you stick to what you're doing, I'm not saying stick to boomer shooters, but stick to the quality and like keep improving on the way you're going. I saw your shit and I was like, not only does this guy have good taste, but also he's not an idiot, which is rare. Like, YouTube is such a cesspool of, God, people are just fucking morons in there. So.
Yep, I've been there and I've done that.
Yeah. I don't know. I just like what you do, man. I wanted to. This is my excuse to have a conversation.
No worries. Oh, Netflix popping up telling me that new series are back. Yep, that's fine. Cool. Oh my god, like the amount of pings I have to. So that's the thing with Netflix. Okay. It can't just tell me that there's so many titles. It has to ping me for each and every title.
There's probably some setting you could tweak. I don't know, man. I keep
probably is.
Like, I keep Netflix and all that shit off the PC. Like, that's TV time, computer time.
Yeah, I've got an LTV stick for Amazon and all that stuff. Normally, though, I use the Opera GX browser.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so it was weird loading up Zencaster, and it's like, this has to be on Chrome. I'm like, oh, okay then. So load up Chrome for the first time in months. Yeah.
Nice. Okay. That's good to know. I'll tell future guests that, because what if we were on an Apple or some shit like that? Like, that's.
I think there's.
You could get Chrome on an Apple.
Yeah. Yeah, you can. Yeah. Remember that from college.
But I don't know. Like, that's actually a really important note to make, because I just switched over to the service. But like Discord, like, it made sense for a long time. Like, okay, just use Discord because everybody's like that I'm going to talk to is going to be on Discord and pop into a voice channel. But it's so like regional, like dependent. So if I'm interviewing somebody in fucking China or something like that, I'm like, okay, let's find a server that works for both of us.
Yeah.
And then the added step of recording it. So I'm sure you know a bit about OBS at this point. Like, I've royally fucked up so many podcasts by just simply not pushing the right button on OBS. And I'm so sick of it. Like, or like saved it to the wrong folder and lost it, or.
Yeah, I found OBS a little tricky to use, and so I have reverted back to, believe it or not, Bandicam, which is very old software, but I had a pro license for it for years ago, and it seems to be doing the job just fine for recording gameplay. So,
it's working.
Yeah,
there's no issue with that. Do you look back at your like older content and just pick yourself apart, or you just kind of like one and gun? Don't look
I went back and watched Boomer Shooters Part 1, and I noticed that the the template I was using to reference the titles didn't look as good as my newer one, and there was some audio issues and stuff like that I've had to work around and fix. And I hope that's beginning to show in my videos that I am improving, but
I think that's important, like to constantly kind of seek, a little. It's not going to be perfect.
No.
I am of the opinion that there is no such thing as like a perfect work. Like I just have to tell myself, like, okay, that's as good as it's going to get for now. Let it go. Learn from my mistakes. Do better next time. But I asked that to ask, like, what improvements do you see yourself making thus far, other than like the templates and things?
I'm not really 100% sure. Perhaps having a set sort of length for each and every section of my videos. Like if I'm doing a review on one game, I should have so many paragraphs on it, and on the other one, roughly the same. If it's possible, because there are some games that you just can't write that much about because they don't have that much to offer, or they're in very, very early stages, and it makes it very tricky to do. And so trying to work out how to balance the script load, basically.
Yeah, that's a big part of it, I guess. Like sometimes I think about, like, when I watch, especially compilation videos, like what you've been doing recently, like, okay, so like, how do you decide which game goes first and last, and like, or is it just like vomit, like figure out like wherever the pieces fall, I guess. But and then also how much time you give to each one.
Well, I have a list set up currently of all the games that I'm going to be covering of the boomer shooters that are out currently, and I do keep adding to that and changing it as more come out.
Is it Zach's list?
It might be Zach's list, however, I'm pretty sure I sent him that list.
Okay.
In the UNM1 Discord, I did bring it up to Zach and to Jake. It's because we have a Patreon specific channel and we give out there's giveaways and stuff like that, and little I don't know how you'd say, like raffles, stuff like that. I was thinking to myself, right, here's the list of all the boomer shooters I'm aware of. Could we incorporate them into a list? Could we do like a bingo type thing with them? But there wasn't enough titles for the amount of people that are actually on the Patreon tier. So I sent that to Zach, and yeah.
So was the plan to like have enough people to just like each one of you go play test a game and we'll feature it in like a review or whatever? Like,
no, what I was thinking was, like a sort of bingo card. Everyone gets a certain number of titles, and the first one to complete a line in terms of like the new releases, in the order they come out. For example, the first one to complete a line could win a game from the list or something like that. I was just spitballing ideas to make the Patreon a bit more fun.
Yeah, it's Patreon's so fucking weird. Like I'm sure I could do a lot better with mine, but I've just taken on the idea like, okay, you know what? I don't want to like bar someone for not being able to give, like $100 a month or some shit like that. So I just like treat everyone exactly the same. Like, you all get access to the podcast. If you want to give more, fucking hell yeah, thanks. The only difference is like sometimes I'll send like care packages or whatever. So, if I get a new patron and they're like, here's $50 a month, I'm like, all right, well, I guess we're sending you everything, as opposed to like, well, let me look in the merch box here and see what we got. Which has oftentimes been like just merch I had sitting around. Like when I talked to Running with Scissors, Mike J, all that shit, like he just gave me a fuckload of merch. I'm like, okay, well, that's going straight to the Patreon.
Nice.
So, I kept a crotchy doll. I had to keep one.
Of course,
get a
yes.
tiny doll to go with him now. So that's actually an interesting dynamic that I wanted to kind of go down. What's it like as a relative newcomer to this genre, being around people like Zach and Jake, who have just like got years and years of like vast knowledge? Because I have my own perspective on that.
Well, obviously, I wasn't around for the releases of the original boomer shooters, the granddaddies of the FPS. Your Doom, your Quake, your Wolfenstein, your original Duke Nukem 3D. I wasn't there for any of those, and that sucked. But now I'm seeing these games come out, like, for example, what was the one recently? Maybe, this is good. Just need to find it. Completely blanking.
I do that all the time.
Oh, it's horrid.
Sometimes I message someone about a game that they didn't make. I'm like, hey, man, or like, Actually, today I have a podcast today and tomorrow, and I was about to get ready to interview the guy for tomorrow, and then I was like, "Oh shit, I better message him."
Like Proteus, for example. That's a recent game that's come out, and it is beautiful. It looks just like those older games, but it's got its own new modern take on it. It looks beautiful. It's done really well with its art style, and again, small game fitted in massive amounts of content, and it's stuff like that I'm glad that I can experience that for the first time as it comes out, which obviously I like doing, but I wish I could have been there for the big games, the ones that people are still talking about years later.
I get that. I guess I got a little taste of it. I didn't really play like Doom and Quake and stuff when I was a kid, but I mean, my dad, I at least played Duke Nukem on the PlayStation, like Time to Kill, which is not a first-person game, but I got at least some exposure to like this culture, I guess is how you put it. I guess Duke Nukem's like the most problematic part of this culture, but it was a good experience to have and like kind of opened my eyes to that. Because later on, when I did get into the genre and I realized like, oh, Duke Nukem is like a legend in this kind of community, it gave me a little bit more of a like reason to pursue it. Like, okay, like I have a fond memory of that character. I can get into that. And then obviously Ion Fury I still think Ion Fury is the best build engine game.
It is really good.
People push back. They say Blood. It's definitely not Redneck Rampage or whatever. I don't know. I just think that something you brought up earlier was just how that game is like takes up such little space. Like at the time, that was a AAA game. Duke Nukem was like the top tier of the top tier, pushing technology to the end. And I was telling a friend this the other day too. Like I'm more fascinated by what can we do with the ideas of the past with modern engineering, as opposed to what the AAA industry does is constantly always try to push the boundary. And so you're always going to end up with, this cycle of, okay, we need to make more money, but we can't sell the games necessarily for more money than we already do because people have an expectation in the market. And so therefore we have to hire more people and either pay them less or work them until they're dead. I mean, that's the way I see it, that there's no other real way to do what they're trying to do.
Not a profitable way. Of course, there's ways that many studios can definitely get the support of the public. If you choose to release a game and then slowly work on actual decent DLC, and put time and craft and love and effort into it, like we saw with, I hate to use CDPR as an example, but with The Witcher, for example, they released The Witcher, released
agree.
Full proper DLC that was its own story and stuff like that. It was an add-on to the original game that just expanded it. That's the way to do it. But then you see companies like EA just shit the bed, basically, with the DLC. It's unbelievable. And I was thinking about this the other day because I've bought an original Xbox, an Xbox 360, and a PS2. Not all at the same time. I have the money for that. But I was playing Mercenaries, if you've ever heard of that game.
I love the original Mercenaries.
It's a very good game.
Or PS2, yeah.
Yes. I was playing that, and I noticed it was an EA game. And I also own The Godfather, and I own, what is it? Like Black, and all the old Fight Club games. The Fight Night games, even. And I noticed that in the past 2 generations of games, EA have just gone downhill. Like, they used to have so many unique IPs and decent games, and now they've focused on what makes them money, and there's no love put into them.
I even remember when EA was like the game, like they made all the sports games, EA Sports or whatever, Challenge Everything, or that was like ingrained in my brain. Like I thought, like, oh, they're the people who make sports games, and that was it. And oh no, it was in the game.
Yeah, that's the one.
Because
Challenge Everything was their normal division.
It was Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone
and Medal of Honor games.
Yes, but yeah, it's very strange that they've just kind of lost all of their footing, and I don't know if that's a misstep for them because I don't know how much money they really make, maybe they look at their bottom line and they're like, we're doing fucking great. I don't really care what these people think. Some people are not in the market of quality.
No.
They're in the market of quantity and money. That's it. So I don't know. I guess it's a matter of what they're selling.
Very true. Like, that's one of the things is, I'm talking about the size of these games. They're very small games. They're a couple of megabytes, and they are full-length games. There are games from start to finish, a proper campaign that will last you a good couple of hours at least.
Yeah.
Then you look at companies like Activision, with their newest Call of Duty being 100-plus gigabytes, and you just think to yourself, what are you doing?
They're selling you games as a service.
Yes, it's like, compress your files, man.
Yeah, well, I mean, first of all, they got to make the biggest, hottest, sexiest graphics, and then the single-player games in Call of Duty are not what they're trying to sell you. Like that's a commercial again. Like that's an advertisement for the real product, which is subscribe, start playing online, and then get involved and build this esports community and all this shit. Which I don't even know how the fuck esports are profitable. Like I know I like esports. I don't know how like the idea of making an esport to someone who is a game designer sounds appealing. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Because it's such a mountain to climb, and you've spent so much time. Like, look at League of Legends. Like, it took them forever to turn a profit on that game. Overwatch, same thing. You just have to keep reinvesting, and it's never over. Like, the game designer's never going to say, all right, well, we're done with that game. Let's move on and go do something new. It's just, no, keep making more things for this one thing.
Yeah, it's not just that, though. It's also the amount of time and effort and resources they have to put into advertising the game and getting people on side with the game to want to tune in to watch these esports teams.
Yeah.
Because, of course, nobody's going to tune in to watch a dead game.
Dead game. I hate when people say that fucking just like, I'm over here playing like open arena and stupid. Like people, there's maybe on a great night, like 50 people on a server. And like, people are like, oh, fucking, what is it? Titanfall's dead. I'm like, fuck you. What are you talking about? The servers are still going.
Yeah, I understand what you mean. I only use the term dead game to mean like, a game that nobody's actually paying any attention to, because you wouldn't, you wouldn't put that much faith in a game that had a couple of hundred players as an esport. It'd have to be a big game that everybody's playing.
Yeah. One of the other shows that I publish is I do the production for is Doom is Dead podcast, and it's with a question mark at the end, and it's supposed to be sarcastic. Like my friend Human Bones, who runs the show, he came up with that name. It's supposed to be like, oh, you're saying Doom is dead, but check out all this amazing shit we're doing. But I swear every time I post it, there's at least one jackass who's like, sounds like clickbait. Doom's not dead. Like, and then they immediately go to like, look at the Doom Eternal, and I'm like, that's not what the fuck we're talking about either. It's terrible marketing.
I get that.
Do you play multiplayer like PvP games at all?
Yeah, occasionally. I've recently been playing that Valheim. That's a really good game. It's a really good game. I've been playing that with a friend from a Discord I frequent, Double Tap Gaming, and it's a really good co-op game, but it's not overly competitive, I'd say.
It's like an MMO, right?
Yeah, it's sort of co-op adventure style game. But as much as I hate to have to admit it, I do play the Call of Duty games.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I know.
You're enjoying it.
I don't know. I used to really enjoy them, back during the PS3 era. I really, really liked them back then, and I sort of like fell off the Call of Duty train when Ghosts came out, and then got back into it with the later Black Ops, and I was like, it's like, I don't know whether I love it or hate it right now. It's really difficult. But yeah, I do play a few competitive shooters. I still occasionally check back in with PUBG every now and then to see what's going on with that. I haven't played Counter-Strike in years.
I used to love playing Counter-Strike. I played it on the PS3 too. That was the thing. Like I didn't even know that there was like a huge world like esport type thing. I was just like, oh, this is all free on the PlayStation. Check that out.
Definitely. And, there is a game that I'm featuring in this latest episode of Boomer Shooters, and I'm trying to find it now.
We'll eventually we'll get done with all the other shit and we'll talk about the Boomer Shooter stuff.
Yeah, no worries, man.
I'm a terrible host.
Yeah, it's a game called Dark Data, and it's still in very like early access. There's only a multiplayer sort of like preview against bots. That game looks fun. Looks hella fun. And
I like the graphic style.
Yeah, I've suggested to Zach and Jake that perhaps when the game comes out in a playable form, we could maybe get like server nights.
Mm-hmm.
You know, where we just get loads of people from the UNM1 Discord and just have a blast playing that.
I think you're in a great position to do stuff like that. We, have struggled with that for years within the Keep, because it's like there's so many different. We play like mostly arena shooters, so like War for Work, that kind of stuff. And I'll just speak personally, because it's like every other day, Uncle Had is pitching like, "Hey man, let's get together and do like fucking I don't know, like blood bath night." And I'm like, that sounds fucking terrible. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, I'm not going to spend my Friday night playing blood multiplayer. But if you can reach a wide enough audience, and you guys, like E1M1 has grown so fast, it's so beautiful to see. And if you're like, hey, game of the week kind of thing, that would be fucking really cool. I think a lot of people would tune in for it.
Yeah. I joined them, not entirely sure when, just before their first round of magazines went out.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like the top tier backer then. I'm one below the top now, because the top one involves the first 3 magazines getting sent out again. Yeah. And I've already got them, so I don't need another copy of them. But yeah, everyone there has been lovely to me. They've all shared their words of support and wisdom in my videos, which is great, because that's what I need. I need a community of people to tell me what's going well about my videos and what's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, because otherwise I have no idea what I'm doing.
Or you end up in an echo chamber where people just say yes and like, oh, you're great, or the opposite, on you just read the comments and it's like, you suck, fuck you,
yeah,
nerd, nobody plays these games, you're terrible.
Yeah, when I was in high school and college, I definitely got a fair amount of that.
It's another challenge that I've seen you kind of facing. You were tweeting like you kept having like different technical issues, like my microphone and like that kind of shit. Like, what's that challenge been like? Because I did notice like the change in mic quality from like video 1 to 2 and 3.
Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. I use Audacity, and it began to sort of play up on me. I had an old headset, I had a Razer headset, and it wouldn't recognize it half the time, and then I changed to a Logitech one. Yeah.
I know I'll tell you about what the issue is after this.
No worries. I changed to Logitech one, and it seems to recognize it most of the time, but occasionally it has issues. I do have a desktop microphone here, which I do use most of the time for my boom shoot videos, but it's whether or not it will pick that one up, because Audacity just seems to be very hit and miss as to whether or not it wants to actually recognize my equipment.
Yeah. I get that. I still use Audacity for editing, like that's it. But I don't really record. If it's a solo cast, I'll record myself on Audacity. But just like if making video content and trying to like double record all this stuff, like I just break out OBS and do it all in one take. Typically, I haven't done a video in a long. I don't like the process of making like game reviews. Like I admire what people like, you and Civi and all, because that's a fucking shit show. It's just terrible. It's not an enjoyable process. And I think Civi's got like an editor, Katie, right? Like she actually does that for him. So good for him. But yeah, what keeps you wanting to do that shit?
Honestly, I don't really know. It's like I've started now, and it's a bit too late to stop. But I guess I do it because I really like these games, and I want other people to see these games and to give them a try, because I know that boomer shooters are a very niche genre, and I tell a lot of people about them, and like, oh no, I've never heard of them before. And I'm like, well, if I can do this and I can get a video that becomes popular and get people to actually check out these games, then maybe these games can reach a wider audience.
I would theorize that it's mutually beneficial because, you're in a sort of niche market, which for some reason, I guess the YouTube god of algorithm saw fit to bestow you with some sort of blessing here. But as you grow, these games will also grow, and as you grow, your audience will find it's not unreasonable to think like they see you and they're like, because you had a great title for the first one, like, you know, Retro FPS, like, what is this? And people see that and they're like, what is that? You know, they join in and they're like, okay, and you're the first person who's ever told them about this stuff. So then they subscribe and then they tell their friends. And then I'm thinking that, kind of losing my train of thought here. I'm thinking that the people who joined in at the beginning, right? Like they are following you from that get-go. You're their first influence on that. They will kind of seek out more things like it. So you're not, as you said, you're like, okay, so hopefully my videos will get these games to be more popular. Simultaneously, as those games become more popular, that should reciprocate back down to you. I would assume.
Hopefully. Let's hope so.
I think I very poorly worded how I was going to get there, but as I said, I've been awake for a long time.
Yeah, that's the goal, I guess, isn't it? Growth in the end. But if I can grow my channel and get more people on side with these games and help a lot of these studios they're not doing great in terms of money. Like in my most recent Boomer Shoot video, a lot of the studios have been really affected by, you know, the states of the world currently.
What was it? Hellbound?
No, not Hellbound. It was trying to think now.
I feel morally obligated to figure out what it was.
Scar was one of them.
Scar, yeah, okay. Scar was the one that came to mind because they had put it out into the Realms Deep Discord before they went public.
And Gun Gods as well.
Yeah, he got sued, right? Like he got some like legal issues going on.
The studio behind that, they didn't get sued themselves. No, they tried to sue somebody else for basically stealing an app game they had.
Oh.
They uploaded a game to the iOS store, and somebody basically just took it and re-uploaded it themselves and was profiting from it. And so they tried to, you know, go the legal route to sort that out. And they had like about 6 or 7 projects on the line, and all of it just caved in on top of them.
That's fucking terrible, man.
But like I say, with the state of the world currently, it's very difficult for anybody to get anything done. Yeah, everyone's working from home, and you know nobody has actual time to go to their offices and coordinate properly. And I can see it's having a bit of a strain on a lot of the studios that I'm covering.
All right, I'm not. This is not me sounding harsh. This is me playing the devil's advocate. But let's take Scar for example, because I know like it's a much simpler issue with them. Like, okay, so pandemic hit and we're unable to really work on the project the way we want to. We're not able to get content out, and the money's stopped flowing, and so that's put them at basically a standstill. Now, with that said, one could make the argument of like, if you learn how to work remotely, because we're assuming this is a relative. How many people are on their team? It's 6.
Yeah,
something like that.
That's what I said. Yeah.
So, like, look at New Blood, right? They're all remote. Nobody lives in the same city, right? And they pump out, you know, I don't need to spell out what New Blood is published. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah,
and
very
what they're
good
going
games.
to publish here pretty soon. And so then the argument is like, well, how come they're able to do this remotely and then this is such a big problem for you? Like, I don't mean that myself. Like, I get it. It's difficult, but
I get exactly what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
But I guess, you know, New Blood is a publisher, aren't they? And they have several different little divisions that are working on various games. Many of them are solo developers, for example, but
they have the most interesting business model ever, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I swear Dave hates money. But I really like that you know, they'll release games and they'll sell them reasonably cheap, and then they'll always have deals and offers and specials.
Yeah,
I like that because it shows that you don't need to constantly charge, you know, I would use the American term $60, for example, every game, every year to break even. You really don't. You can sell games quite cheap and still make a decent profit.
It's a term. It's a matter of like, how much do you invest in it, right? Like, I've got to be totally clear. Like, I'm not some fucking successful businessman. I just like have been looking into this a lot lately because I like making money. Unlike Dave Oshry, I like money, to a certain degree. And it seems pretty straightforward. Like, invest less than what you think you can make, and then hopefully it works out. And then in his case, like, Dusk was a monumental success.
Amazing.
And then, okay, so we can take some Dusk money and invest it over here. And then, like, so you're constantly playing that game of like, okay, if I take on Gloomwood and I put this much money into it, how much can I make? And I don't know what exactly the math that's going on in Dave's head is, but like, what we're dealing with these indie or more indie projects, no publisher, no like pre-existing capital, is they're just straight up taking a risk. They have no idea what they're going to make, right? Like, off of this. So the more money that in time they put into it, the worse it looks. So I say all that to kind of bring forth the idea that I have been quoting a lot recently. It was the SMART model, which is set up your goals in such a way that they're like obtainable, right? Like,
yes, definitely.
A in SMART is attainable. Can it be done in a certain amount of time? And when you give yourself like an infinite amount of time to do something, like, okay, well then when will it be done? And that comes back to what you and I were talking about earlier we were looking back at our stuff that we put out before and like, man, I should have, done something differently. But like, you don't need to make the best fucking game in the world the first time. You just need to make a profit so that you can reinvest it back into what your actual passion. Yeah.
But one thing I would say that works well in New Blood's favor, for example, is I'm not 100% sure, but they strike me as the type of publishers that don't have, $1 trillion investors that are pumping big amounts of money into their licenses and then getting disappointed if something doesn't perform as well. Like, for example, with EA, because EA have to make all that money to keep all their investors happy. And same with Activision and Bethesda and Ubisoft. All these big AAA publishers are constantly trying to just appease their stakeholders. But with a studio like New Blood, it's just Dave and a couple of his friends trying to pump out some stuff. And it's great. It works really well. But you're saying, we joke around that Dave hates money, but have you seen his house? It's a real nice place.
At the very, right first week of okay, everybody, there's a pandemic. And okay. And then he publishes this video where it's just like him. And it looks like, I think he's got a glass of gin or something, and he's in a bathrobe, and it's just this beautiful panel glass in the background with the beach and shit.
Yes. And
he's just like, these times are hard, and New Blood is going to be here for our customers. I mean, it was hilarious, and I know he was really good-hearted about it, but it was like, man, do you not see the irony in this shit?
Oh, definitely.
We hate money. I'm like, okay. Clearly.
Yeah. His dog's cute, though. He's got a cute dog.
Yeah. And I enjoy being able to speculate on stuff because I have no stake in that, really.
I get what you mean.
I guess to get back on track, unless you had a thought.
No, go on. Sorry. Yeah.
Okay. So with the idea that okay, these indie developers are struggling to figure out a way how do we continue to make our game? Still playing that devil's advocate. I'm like, okay, well, what can you do? And there's obvious ideas like, okay, can we crowdfund it? Can we find a publisher that's willing to invest some money in it? And that's a whole different fucking can of worms because it's like, okay, we found a publisher, but they want to fuck us in the ass. I'm like, well, don't go that route. I see so many different opportunities and different ways for them to make money to reinvest in their project that you might look back and say okay, if you are struggling, it's okay to struggle sometimes, but if you are really struggling that bad and you haven't tried all of these different routes to get where you want to go, then I have a hard time accepting that okay, well, then why should I care? And you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, I mean, I want to see these games be successful, but I can't invest in every fucking Patreon that comes out. I can't invest in every Kickstarter. That's
exactly
just not humanly possible. So what are you selling me? What is your product offering me that I can't get somewhere else? I guess, I don't know. It's very difficult, man. And I say all that, I have to keep reiterating, I want nothing more.
Oh, definitely.
Find a way. Yeah.
There are many games that I have covered so far that I have loved, and I've got games listed on my list to cover that, for the most part, look amazing. But there are a few on there that are on itch.io because they haven't managed to get the Steam. They haven't managed to get any ability to publish on Steam. and they don't look as good, which, just goes to show that it's as much about your passion as it is your ability to publish a game.
Yeah, I think it's definitely about your passion. It's also a matter of like, let's just look at my own situation here. Like, so as a podcaster, right? I could just say like, all right, I am just going to do Spotify, right? Like some people will try that. And I'll say like, it doesn't make sense for me personally. And luckily I realized this very, very early on. I'm like, that doesn't make any fucking sense to just be on one. Like I need to be available to like as many people as humanly possible. And it needs to be easy. It should never be blaming the consumer for not being able to find it. I should do everything in my power to figure that out. So, and as an example, like YouTube is probably the number one place where people listen to the show. I know why that is because everybody has YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Easy. But I also have my issues with YouTube. Like I don't like sitting down and editing the fucking video. Number one, I don't like having two separate, routes for checking my statistics. Like I have many different reasons that make me not want to use YouTube, but I think it would be stupid not to. So then, and I get, there's an initial financial investment. You got to pay $100 basically to get a game on Steam. You could raise $100. Like anybody could do that. Assuming they're not in like a shit life situation. Like if you live in a third world country and $300 is crazy, or, $100 is crazy. But if you're, let's say you own a PC and you live in a fucking first world country, you could go suck a dick, one night of your life and then get $100 and sell your game if it really means that much to you. I'm not suggesting anyone do that, but I mean, like, if you're really truly passionate about it, you're going to seek out every single avenue, every opportunity. And that points me back to what I was saying is like, I'm always like skeptical of like new podcast apps. Like, okay, how much work do I have to put in to get it onto this app? So like, for instance, Apple, which is probably the most important one, is the most pain in the ass really to get your show on. It takes the longest to fill out a lot more information, and they have the most demands of you, like in terms of your formatting and is it explicit, all this kind of shit. But recently I got onto a service called Ghana, which is, I had no idea it existed, but apparently it is like the Spotify of India. And there's a fuckload of people in India. And it turns out there's a fuckload of people in India who really like boomer shooters.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
like,
a bit of a shock.
It's like, not In the Keep, but my other two shows I produce, it's like already number one for them. And then I think it's number two region in the world that listens to In the Keep, India, after the United States.
Yeah.
It's fucking insanity. I'm like,
it is. True. So then,
I say all that to say, like, I would assume these indie guys just have to fucking figure out who their audience is. And the same thing applies to you. Like, you figure out who your audience is, wherever they are, do everything you can to expose yourself, and they will come. Build it and they will come. I think that was Jesus Christ, if I remember his name, said that.
Yeah, that's a very true statement. But as you were saying about, what was it? For example, we're trying to work out what the best platform to send your podcast to. You see a lot of studios doing the same thing but making the same mistake. They're like, oh, I'm not going to go to Steam because they charge 30% cut. I'm going to release on Epic and have a year exclusivity. Like, release it on both. That way you get people from both camps that are coming in, buying your game. You're just making loads and loads of money and sitting on it. That's fine.
It's like, oh yeah, fuck Steam. They take 30% of the profit. I'm like, yeah, but they're the biggest platform, which you'll reach the most people that way. And two, 70% of your game being sold to more people than it, it's always more than zero. Anything is more than zero. So,
exactly. Even if it was a couple of pence, it's still more than nothing. And for these big studios, that $300 charge to get your game listed on Steam is nothing.
Yeah.
You put 300 to it and you get several thousand back. Sorry.
No. I'm yammering on today. I'm like all hopped up on coffee and shit. So I apologize. If we can have you back on later when I'm like tired and you can just talk the whole time too. I was just going to say, like, I'm not diminishing the work that is done to make a game, but it's like, you're not coal miners on a union strike. You don't need to stick it to Steam. They're your most valuable asset.
Definitely.
30% seems like a lot, but again, like I said, 70% is more than none. You know, if you just
Definitely.
put it on Epic and you get just those sales, that's fine. But like, put it on Steam and Itch, and if you can get on what is it, GOG, like all this stuff, like whatever you can do.
I mean, I can understand the difficulty, like especially with people that are coming new to PC gaming. There's so many different launches. You've got Steam, you've got Epic, you've got GOG, you've got Origin, you've got Uplay, Bethesda launcher, and Rockstar launcher. You know, none of these are really needed. You can cope with one, but I can see how difficult it is for many studios, and a lot of these, you know, these publishers that have their own launcher. You can publish it on your own launcher, but you can also publish it on Steam and get income from two places. And I don't understand why so many publishers are against doing that.
Well, I mean, their investors look at the bottom line and say, like, okay, well, how come we're losing 30% of the profit there? And they're like, well, because the way we distribute it is like, well, can we do that ourselves? Well, I suppose we could, but I mean, and no. Go get that extra 30%. Like, here's a little, not enough money. Go build our own launcher, put it on our website, and you know, and then it ends up being a subpar product, and so on and so forth.
Definitely.
But it's the same problem you see with like streaming services. Like, you know, look at Netflix was original, you know, like the OG, and then, you know, all the other companies are like, oh, how can we break into that market? So then, you know, Netflix and Hulu. All right, I'm still paying less than cable. All right, I can balance that. And then cascades now, Disney app, HBO, like they're just going to flood us, and they're going to make it exclusive so that you have to buy all the different ones, or you're going to have to pick, okay, I'm going to miss out on all this content because I just want to see this.
Which is exactly the same problem everyone had with paying for cable.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because you can buy a certain package and then you'll miss out on all the sports and you'll miss out on all the films, but you'll have all the TV, and then you'll have to pay extra and extra. And then people, you know, they've gone to YouTube, they've gone to Netflix, and then there's Amazon, there's Disney, there's so many more that are there, and it just becomes a massive clusterfuck of trying to watch what content you want.
At least Amazon Prime has all these other great benefits behind it. Like like Amazon Prime Video is not the reason to get Amazon Prime, right? Like, so it's just like an added bonus. Plus, they have a lot of really great content. I mean, I really liked The Man in the High Castle, like that kind of shit. But
yeah, I quite like that myself.
But you know, with CBS All Access is like they're trying to take everything. Like, so like The Office went to that, and like that's going to get a huge amount of people. But I'm like, okay, so are you going to like pay for another? I have to pay for another fucking service? Like, no, not doing it. Goodbye, Office. See you later. And that comes back to games. It's the same way. I mean, some people are just like, I'm not buying a game if it's not on GOG, period. Okay. As a developer, what decision do you make? Do you miss out on that whole market, or do you just put in a little bit of extra effort to get it on there? It's not that fucking, I've done it. Like, it's not that fucking hard.
But I suppose it also depends on the amount of voices that are saying that opinion. So, you know, if you're looking at Steam and you're looking at your own launcher, and you think to yourself, if I don't publish to Steam, there's going to be, you know, 70% of the people that would buy it wouldn't pick it up because it wouldn't be available on Steam. If I look at my launcher, there'd be about 20% of people that wouldn't buy it because it wouldn't be on my launcher. So you got to try and work out where the most money is, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's back to the investment argument. Like, it's not just money. It's like, okay, how much of my time is this particular task worth? Sometimes it's how much is it worth right now? You know, maybe it'll be worth it later. So, you know, for the people who are just publishing on itch, you know, I get that, like, cool. And if your aspiration is just to make an indie game, publish it and be done, like, you're not trying to be a fucking millionaire, it's a great place to do it. And you get it, like, I mean, you can take 100% of the profit on itch, I believe. Like, I think they ask for 10, but it's like, you get to choose. You can give them 100% of your game if you want. And that's amazing that they're able to do. I don't even know how they're able to sustain the servers doing that, but
definitely, it reminds me of Humble Bundle.
Yeah,
because they give out what they claim to be several $100s of games every month for the price of $12. You can cancel anytime. You can keep the games for as long as you want. I'm always confused as to how that works.
I mean, I don't know how originally, like, you know, Humble Bundle wasn't always just games. Like, they were doing this with comic. They still do. I mean, like, there's all kinds of other things you can get on there. But I think that they built a platform on, you know, we take things that we can get in bulk, right? Like surplus, kind of the Costco sort of thing. And you guys have Costco in the UK?
We do, yes.
Okay. So, and then, they built enough capital in the beginning to like, okay, we've built a huge platform. And then now it's like beneficial for our, for people to put their stuff on there because it's like, okay, well, it'll be exposed, people will find it. They'll, I'll get something out of it. I assume that's how it works. Like it can't have just been like, well, we're just going to give shit away for free and hope people give us free shit. Like that's unlikely, especially not at the scale they're doing it.
Yeah, I have noticed that a lot of the games that are on Humble have been on sale. Maybe that month, maybe a month prior or 2 months prior, and so I'm guessing that's how they managed to get so many keys for the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I said, the artist just is like, hey, like we'll throw some shit on Humble Bundle, and if somebody gets it on Humble Bundle, like you, right, and then you're like, you make a great video about it, and then the sale goes away on Humble Bundle, and then they're like, oh, where can I get this? Steam. All right,
definitely.
We just maximized our, reach.
It does seem to be. I've never seen a new release on Humble Bundle. It's always games that have been out for a few months, and perhaps the sales are dying off on it. So I reckon it might be a way to boost the sales back up from word of mouth.
Throw some wood on the fire, see what happens. Yeah. Keep the embers burning.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm just really excited to see what the next few months bring in terms of games, because there's a lot of boomer shooters that are scheduled to release, a lot of big boomer shooters as well that I'm really interested in.
So, I mean, first of all, I just point people like go to PapaScho's channel, watch his videos, see what he's into. But we're pushing the hour mark here, and it'd be remiss if we didn't talk about what games you're really looking forward to. Because there's you get some strong opinions in the videos, like, oh, this is like fucking awesome. Like this one, I don't know, I couldn't spend a lot of time on it. But what are like the ones that you're like, these are, I want to shine a light on these for you?
Well, the games that I have been quite excited for. Bear with me 1 second. I've got a list somewhere. I like to do it with lists. There's one that I was made aware of from the E1M1. It's called Caesar's Revenge, and it's a game about you're a Roman, and I think you are Caesar, and you just have to go murder a lot of Roman soldiers with swords, bows and arrows. You get some with flamethrower. It's pretty cool. It just looks like a really interesting game because, of course, I myself am really quite into history, and so yeah, definitely. I figure that's a very interesting time in history, is the death of Caesar and the fall of Rome, and so being able to play a game that's loosely based around it really intrigues me. And with Fallen Angels as well, that's a game that has been picked up by
Fallen Aces now.
Yeah, Fallen Aces now, yes. New Blood picked that one up. Again, I quite like, tales about the Mafia. I've played the Mafia trilogy, loved it. Watched Sopranos and, all stuff like that. Goodfellas. I really like, Mafia-based media because it's just interesting. And so Fallen Angels is another game that's really quite intriguing to me because I get to, shoot people as a mafioso. It's really quite interesting. I'm looking forward to the new Postal Brain Damaged when that comes out. Yeah, I have no idea really if it's going to be good because Postal 4 so far been a bit underwhelming. I know it's still in development, but yeah, needs a lot of work.
Well, let's break that down. What is it we're not digging about Postal 4 so far?
Well, obviously it's the incomplete, somewhat buggy nature of it, and I get it's still in early access. The game is not finished.
It's a Running with Scissors title, first of all.
Yeah. But yeah, it doesn't seem to play too well. Doesn't play too nicely with my computer at the minute, and I have a decent rig. At the minute, it doesn't quite seem optimized yet, and so I reckon give it a few months. It might be. I know they're still adding in the days and the playable levels, stuff like that. That's fine. It's take your time. But I do believe they maybe should have waited before publishing it, as the game is in a very incomplete state at the minute.
I mean, this is another wheelhouse we could go down with, like, okay, how do developers make money? And a lot of the time it's like, okay, well, the surest way for us to make money is to do early access and let people kind of be part of it and play test it and give us feedback. And meanwhile, we have a revenue stream. In running with Scissors' case, I know that to be a fact because Mike J's like, yeah, we just kind of had to go early access.
Definitely.
It was like the best route for us from a business standpoint. And I agree. Like, it's like every other title they've ever published. It's fucking rough around the edges, man. Like, for sure. I'm glad I played Postal 2 in 2020 and not when it came out, because I'm sure it was even worse, more dog shit than it currently is. And I love Postal 2. It's like one of my favorite games. But yeah, like, that's just kind of the situation they're in. Now with Brain Damage, it's kind of a different deal. It's not running with Scissors Studios, like, making that game, right? They've hired a development team who has a great track record, and I get, like, the apprehension of, first of all, this is what we've grown to expect from New Blood, and also the last time that they let someone do some shit with their IP, it was like a disaster.
Yeah, but Postal 3 was not good.
I think Brain Damage is based on the smart model. It's like, here's the, we got a budget, we got a time frame. They're doing all the things right to hopefully have a fantastic game. Obviously, I have a lot of faith in it. So,
of course, yeah. Another game I am really excited for, which is not a boomer shooter per se. It's just a retro themed game. It's a wrestling title, believe it or not. Retromania Wrestling, and that is coming out in just under a week now. I pre-ordered it mid 2020 as soon as the pre-order went live for it, because it was only about $20. And so I had to, because it's a third of the price of like a normal AAA game. And what about
Fire Pro?
I have, yes, but I know this is an overdone joke, and it's a bit of a lazy way to critique a game, but I see that as the sort of Dark Souls of wrestling games, because it is a very tricky game. You've got to be spot on with your timing in everything you do, otherwise you're just going to get pummeled. And obviously, while I can see the appeal of that to many fans of wrestling games, it's not fun for me because of the amount of like stress that can go into trying to get a match to go well.
Yeah, it's like I agree, like the Dark Souls of wrestling games is a perfect analogy. Just getting, because even to play the game effectively, you got to get through the tutorials, which is like forever long.
I got to the tutorial, I started playing through the tutorial, and there was bits where it tells you to press a button at a certain time, and you're pressing it and pressing it and pressing it, it's not working. You think to yourself, what am I missing? And I'm sat there for about half an hour just scratching my head as like, it says press now, pressing, it's not doing nothing. Press now, not doing nothing. Right, okay, I'll try it. Now, not doing nothing. I'm just like, right, so what am I supposed to do?
Optimized for the PC. Like, it's a game that assumes you're going to play it with a controller too. So everything on it, when you go to adjust the settings, is like you're working with controller UI here. So maybe they could have taken that into account and made it a lot better. But this Retromania Wrestling, which I just became aware of right now, surprisingly, it's awesome.
Yeah, it really does. It's set to be the official sequel to 1991's WrestleFest. And somehow they managed to acquire the rights to that game. And the guy behind it, Mike, he's putting work in for a cabinet, an actual arcade cabinet to be made of it, which is amazing. It's super awesome. And it's what I've wanted from a wrestling game for a while, just an arcade fun beat 'em up experience.
Yeah, especially I'm done with the WWE forever, but like AEW, what is her name? The referee is a game designer, and apparently she's like heading up the development team to make their game. And I'm assuming Kenny Omega is going to be like heavily involved in what that should be like. So hopefully whatever they turn out is going to be fucking awesome.
Like, I've been seeing, snippets and previews of the AEW game, and that strikes me as interesting. It really does. But one thing that bugs me is no matter how many times I've asked the question, they have not answered whether or not it's going to be on PC. It looks like it is going to be console exclusive, which hurts. Yeah. But sure thing, whatever, I guess. And like you said, I don't watch the product on telly anymore for WWE. I do occasionally check in with AEW, but I haven't watched the actual WWE in a while. I must have been about, 16, 17, the last time I really checked in, see what was going on. But I haven't followed it in a long time. I just like the games.
I feel the same way about them as I do with Star Wars now. It's like it's like this old girlfriend that I have a lot of fond memories with, but we've both grown apart. She's got new friends and
Definitely.
they like her, and it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it's like sort of reminiscing about your old crush that you're thinking to yourself, damn,
Yeah.
life was good then, and then you think, since then, oofed.
Yeah, she's popular. She's with the popular kids now, and they're just not.
Yeah, here I am sat in my chair.
Yeah, I don't know. I've always loved pro wrestling, so this is interesting stuff. Like I didn't even know that there was another game coming out. I can't wait to check that out, man. On the wish list now.
Definitely good.
So, was there any more to your upcoming ideas of what could be really cool games or?
Not really. No. I have a big list of upcoming boomer shooters, for example. All of them look interesting, but of course, I kind of want to experience it for the first time when it comes out, and then hopefully add them to the boomer shooter list. One game that does look quite interesting, but also quite bizarre, is Fashion Police Squad. If you've seen anything of that.
I think the first thing you said when we started talking was don't write something off because it doesn't look like it's for you necessarily. But I'll wait and see what the general consensus is.
Because that game definitely does seem bizarre. It's based a lot around fashion, and it seems to have quite a few. I don't want to get political, but a lot of homosexual elements, stuff like that. And it seems interesting to say the least, and just to check it out and see what it's about. It might be entertaining, might be amusing, it might be slightly overly politically charged. I'll give it a chance. I'll see what it's like. Of course, I'll feature it in a Boomer Shooter review when it comes out. God knows when that'll be, because that's the problem with my series at the minute is I'm covering games roughly as quickly as they're coming out, and that's a problem at the minute because while I'm making decent headway through the ones that are out currently, I'm getting to that stage, where I've got the list going, and I'm thinking to myself, once I get to episode 6 or 7, what am I gonna do? There's no more titles.
I don't know. I'm lucky in that I only, I do a podcast a week, so I can't possibly capture everyone, and I can't possibly talk everyone into being on the show in the first place. Harrot was one I was just I really, really want to talk to this guy, and I just can't get him to respond to anything. I mean, he's on Twitter, but he just doesn't message people. He's one of those, from what I can tell, very, reserved. I don't do this whole thing, which is fine, but such an interesting title. So I have to accept that's probably not going to happen right now, and that's okay. But yeah, I don't envy your situation at all. And it's also you're doing these kind of bulk videos right now. I mean, at some point, just slow it down. Take your time and do a whole fucking one game review video and do the next one the next week. Space it out a bit, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, that's one thing I was thinking about. But when I did my first Retro FPS video, I was originally thinking of just covering one game. Then I realized to myself, after I write about it, I'm like, this is only about 3 minutes of voice recording. What am I gonna do? I was like, I just had the idea. I was like, no, shove them all into one video.
Yeah.
Just cover the genre as a whole, and that's sort of how it's started.
Do you force yourself to play things that you absolutely just are not enjoying at all for the sake of saying you covered it?
No. I will give every game a try, and I have many games on the list that I don't know about 100%. I haven't really seen that much in terms of content. I'll give every game a go, and I will play enough of it to, give a sound judgment. I know in Boom Shooter Episode 2, a lot of my footage is from the first level or first levels, because of course I start recording as soon as I load up the game, and then it's a case of I will play through it as much as I can get through in a reasonable time, and then I'll write about it and then start working on the video. But it tends to just be the first little bits of the video that get into the actual video itself, because that's the first recording I did. It's where I know most of the footage is.
Yeah, I'm trying to brainstorm what are you going to do? Because there does seem to be a point where you're going to all right, I've covered everything. I mean, I guess there's always going to be revisiting the titles that were originally demos or early access, and then you can be all right, now we'll take a look at the whole thing.
I suppose if I run out of modern boomer shooters, I can always go back to the originals and talk about those. So I can talk about Doom, Wolfenstein, Quake. I know that's something that's been done to death, but I could do my own little spoof of my series, I guess.
It's Civi's whole thing is essentially I'm going to force myself through an extremely unenjoyable process so that you don't have to, and for your entertainment.
But that's the problem is I see Civi, I see G-Man, and the one thing I really don't want is for people to look at me and go, oh, you're just copying those two. Because that's not what I intend to do. Of course, I do like the two of them, and I do watch their content.
Yeah.
But I don't want it to seem like I'm just trying to be those people.
Well, what flavor do I bring to the table? What new niche do I fill or whatever? I totally understand that. Because, I mean, I bring them up a lot because currently they're the sources that most people kind of find out about this stuff from, at least, in terms of YouTube videos and shit like that. But then you find other people, like my friend, I'm pretty good friends with Vince Steele, and he has his own fucking thing going on. He has these insane videos where it's he's playing through a game and then he ends up talking to his fucking psychologist or whatever, who's picking apart, his character. Why do you stay up all night making, he breaks the fourth wall with it, and that's his gimmick, and it works. It's fucking this is incredible content, man. I wish more people knew about him, and hopefully they will find out. But yeah, finding a new way to present it is very, very difficult, but also I don't know, where do you go from the point that you're at? I don't know.
Definitely.
Do you have any ideas?
At the minute, I'm open to anything, I guess. It's just taking each day as it comes, I suppose.
Well, do you like the bulk videos? Just strictly do early access or demos, and that way you could just knock them all out quickly, and then you're all right, these are all the upcoming ones, and then as they come out, or when you have a game that is a full release game, just dedicate more time to it. Maybe
definitely that's a
route worth going.
That's a solid idea. It's just when it comes to these games, obviously with boomer shooters, I know there are many that are trying to do a bit more and be a bit more.
Yeah.
But the premise of a boomer shooter is very simple, isn't it? It's just you are a pissed off dude. You have a gun. There's enemies. Have a blast.
But it can be so much more.
It can be, and
yeah.
I pray it is for many of these games, but that is the basic premise of a boomer shooter, and many games follow that as at least their blueprint, their foundation. And so I couldn't write too much on many of these games because there's not that much distinguishing them from each other. They're all similar games, and so that's why I've lumped them all together, really.
There's a balance between, defining what you do and also leaving yourself open to grow or change if you need to, right?
Definitely.
Use their, Metallica, right? Their first 4 albums are kind of all right, this is what we do. And then they start changing it up, and then people get upset. They're like, what the fuck? What is this? Is it isolating your fans here, man? But then they hit, we're able to reach a much bigger audience. whatever way you go on that isn't important. But so like I have an issue myself with like I don't want to be defined as like the retro FPS thing. Like I get that that's been very successful for me and it's working and I like it. Like I wouldn't play these games if I didn't absolutely love them. But I don't want to cut myself off from, something like Gloomwood, right? It's still a first person shooter, but it's an immersive sim, I guess. It's a different wave of kind of recreating the past. Like, all right, so we've done Doom, we've done Quake. What's next? Deus Ex, System Shock. Like, and then as time goes on, it'll be more and more like that.
Like, I don't want to just be known for boomer shooters, retro FPS games. I know that's what my series is called, but I am covering games that branch out from the simple, boomer shooter floor plan, basically. Like, one game I've got in this list for the episode that I've done the script for it is Dismantled, if you've heard of that. Mm-hmm. It's I don't know how to describe it. It's a first person horror game. It's very heavily inspired by Resident Evil and games like that. It's really quite interesting because it goes for the whole, retro aesthetic. It's a game made in GZ Doom. And it's really impressive. And of course, I'm not going to spoil too much about it because I've done a big thing about it in this video that I'm doing. But it's really quite interesting and it's different. It's not like all the other games I've covered so far.
Yeah, and as we said, like the market becomes saturated. So like, let's say I'm a new game developer and I'm like, all right, I want to make a game. And you're like, okay, you're going to make a boomer shooter. Well, 3 years ago, if you'd done that and you were good at it, it would have been like one of 5 relevant games. Now it has become a genre. I mean, Realms Deep really did a lot for this, but
definitely
now it's like, okay, well, you can make a whole magazine on this topic. So if you're selling me a boomer shooter now, as opposed to 3 years ago, now I need to know what like, is this even worth my fucking time to look at? And that's not to say I'm like writing it off from the beginning just because it doesn't have the best X, Y, or Z. It's just like, what are you trying to give me that's different and new
that I can't get anywhere else?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like it's hard. Like Scar, for example, right? Like, what am I getting out of Scar that I can't get out of a game that I've already played? Like, that's the kind of questions I want them to be like asking themselves as they try to like find a way to monetize their game.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But with my videos, I want people to, look at the games, not just go, what can I get out of this that I haven't got out of another game? Because these are, the games based on old games. They look old.
Yeah.
As a very broad way of painting them all, because, some of them do look very beautiful with their retro style, their pixely graphics. But, I don't want people to look at it and go, oh, that looks like a game I could have played in the 80s. That's anything new. I want people to actually stop for a second and go, oh, okay. Yeah, I can see that being a good game. And that's one thing that, I'm trying to bring to the limelight is these games all have their own slightly unique selling points.
Yeah. I mean, let's look at it like this. Let's say that, you've established a pretty good fan base and your folks are watching your videos and they've played Wrath. They've played, Ion Fury. They've played Duke Nukem, Doom, all this shit. So like they're familiar with the genre and they're looking for more games like it. But when you're showing me 6 things and I've got $20 in my budget for a game this month, which one am I going to pick up? So then I'm like, well, is it going to be this one that I haven't heard of or that one that I haven't heard of? And like, which one looks better? They're going to look to you, like based on what you say. Like maybe if you say like this one was the most impressive one, maybe that's where they put their money. And I don't know, you're kind of in a, not necessarily a position of power, but you'll have that, you'll have an influence. I guess that's why they call it an influencer, a social media.
I suppose,
influencer.
Yes. Yeah, like with my last video, where I mentioned, what game were we talking about before? Proteus. I mentioned that as probably being the highlight of that video. because it was, in my opinion, the best of the bunch.
Yeah.
But I still enjoyed all the games from that listing. And so I'll put them all in. I tend to put, one of the better games in the list towards the end. Not for, the YouTubery reasons of, watch through the whole 20-minute video to get good stuff type thing, but, so that people actually give all the games that aren't as good a chance. Check it out and go, that might not be everything I'm looking for, but it's got a few things that I'm liking. It's bringing to the table something that I want to pick up what they're putting down.
Have you done White Hell yet?
No, it is in my list. It's currently in its demo stage, though, isn't it? Or is it out now?
It is still just a demo. Currently.
Yeah, I've got it as one of the games that I want to cover. And rather funnily, when I first saw White Hell, I genuinely thought that it was. I didn't quite understand the premise of it. I thought that it was. Have you ever heard of the White Death?
Yes.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I saw the basic cover art, and I thought that was a game based on Seymour Hire. I thought, oh my god, yeah, that sounds amazing.
Oh fuck! I'm gonna tell you something now, and if I'm not allowed to tell you it, I'll ask for permission and then take it out. He will be in the game.
Yes. Good, because I told people in the UNM1 that I made that massive mistake. I was like, I thought this was a game about Seymour Hire. It's not, but I thought
it's
it was.
Not about him.
No,
there's a wink and a nod. There will be a wink and a nod toward. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I was looking at it. I was thinking, is this a game about the White Death himself? I was like, no, it's not. I've completely misread what I saw, and that reminds me. I have a similar story about that. It's a bit of a tangent. I'm sorry, but
this whole show is about tangents. Please take the.
I went to the cinema when I was quite young, man, and I went with my mum, and we went to go see. Have you ever heard of a film called Alpha Papa? It's about Alan Partridge.
I don't think so.
Yeah. Went to go see that film, and Alpha Papa is obviously Alan Partridge. It's police jargon, I guess.
The Alan Parsons Project. Got it. Okay, prog rock. I'm following.
Yeah, and basically, my mum went to the counter and she goes, 2 tickets to Piper Alpha, please, which was an oil rig explosion off of the north coast in the UK that happened, I don't know, late 80s, early 90s. So, completely different thing. And the guy was like, I'm sorry, what? And I just feel like that's something that I did with this game.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. Just completely over my head. Just
totally get it. It's something that I've been on a fucking rant about lately. Is no more fucking first-person shooter games with the name. No more hell is allowed. If you make a game from this point on with hell in the title, writing you off immediately. And it's not that they won't be great games. There's lots of fantastic games with the name hell in them. I'm just like, okay, but when someone is scrolling through their fucking Steam wish list, they're going to see 100 different. How are they going to find your shit if it's not something that stands out?
Yeah, I have. I've noticed that a lot of games in this genre specifically tend to take place on a random moon base on Mars, or something like that, a super high tech facility on Mars, and there's a load of monsters. Obviously it's taken inspiration from Doom. I get it. I'm not going to fault it for that, but come on, a little bit more originality, please.
I think Effigy did it right. Okay, well, we're going to put you on a moon base and it's going to be a boomer shooter, but we have all these other things about it that are different. So yes, you are on a moon. So nod to Doom and all that, but you're not fighting aliens or a super high tech thing. You're fighting a cult of people who worship some sort of weird Cthulhu-esque moon goddess or whatever. All right, that's an interesting story. I'm sold. And then it's also a Metroidvania style game too, which I'm really looking forward to. But with White Hell, I think it's for me personally, just looking at just indie stuff. I mean, we're not going to count the shit that's got a lot of money behind it, but it's the most interesting one to me right now because it is it offers a lot from a level design perspective and the story. I know some people will like go the John Carmack route and say story doesn't matter. I think it matters. It definitely does to me because it's like with their integration of the Kalevala. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Which is the Finnish mythos and everything into their game. I don't know, it just leaves so much to be like, okay, well, what's going to happen next? Where are we going with this? There's fascists, there's fucking communists. Like, what is going on? A lot of mystery.
I've seen that argument be made that story doesn't matter, and while I would personally disagree with it myself, I do believe story matters. It depends on what type of game you're going for, really, because there are certain games where story really, really doesn't matter. You know, you can have various arcade experiences that are just literally go hit stuff. You know, go hit stuff, go
Even
shoot
then,
stuff.
Maybe it's not a story, but like a theme, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's my gimmick? You're a wrestler. Like, okay, big, strong dude. All right, cool. I've seen that. What makes you interesting?
Yeah, definitely. You know, it helps. I like games that have a story but don't, put it right in your face.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but it's not a case of, you have to go find collectibles and walk around the map and read this and read that to figure out. It's just, things you can pick up from the environment as you're walking through, and, there's like someone over the loudspeaker saying something, and you're just like, oh. And,
Yes.
You begin to piece it together, and it's just environmental storytelling. I like that.
It's immersive, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, fuck. What else? Like, there's just like so many fucking games. Like, I feel like a dick if I go on the show and I say something like, this is the one that I think is most exciting, because I might come back next week and say something totally fucking different. Or I'll feel guilty that's like, it's a friend of mine who's developing it, and I'm like, oh, how come you didn't say my game?
Okay.
Well, I don't know. That we're kind of going down the realm of like, okay, so it's the same premise. Like you're a first person, you're shooting something, you're in an area where there's monsters, go kill them. But then there's like the added idea of like, okay, so what other gameplay elements can you integrate into that without breaking the whole damn thing? So like I mentioned already, like Effigy with like sort of the Metroidvania style thing, also Vomitorium, which is Scumhead's latest endeavor, same kind of idea. Okay, like we're gonna have like a map where you can revisit areas and you gain new abilities that allow you to traverse into new things that you couldn't do before. That's huge. Like that's like a big step forward for the genre as far as I'm concerned.
Definitely.
I don't know. There's other ones that are just kind of like they're kind of hammering that same thing. Like there's a lot of games right now that are like, I look at them and it looks fun, but it just looks like, all right, you're making Doom 16, again.
But there are games like that with that sort of, feature of like retreading your steps. Like there's a few games in this list of the episode I'm doing now. And while I do like that, that gameplay design, that element, because it encourages you to really think about what you're doing, it's like occasionally it gets a bit over convoluted. There's a lot to remember, there's a lot to think about. You pick something up and you're like, I have no idea what this is used for, shove it in my backpack, and then, you might drop it somewhere, and then like 3 hours later, you're like, oh, I needed that.
Yeah.
So you got to tread back through 3 hours worth of gameplay again just to grab it and bring it back. It can be a bit of a bollock, really.
I did that in Arx Fatalis. There was an item that like there was no reason for me to believe it was significant, and then I later found out it was super important, and I didn't put it somewhere. I just threw it on the ground, and I had no idea where I threw it, and ruined my whole fucking gameplay experience. I get that 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like when it comes to RPG games, I pick things up and I hoard them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'm like running out of inventory space. I'm thinking to myself, what? Why? It's like I might need this, I might need that. I can't drop anything. It just becomes a big, over-convoluted problem.
Yeah, I mean, as the games become more complicated, I guess, in the way that they're designed, that also you end up with the more potential problems that could go wrong. Like it's a more complex machine has more more parts that can break, and therefore more different things you need to understand about it.
That's one thing that I quite like about the modern boomer shooters is they are not made with the same amount of crap in them as many AAA games.
Yeah.
And so if something goes wrong with a boomer shooter level or something, or an enemy's not working quite as it should be, It's much simpler for the developer to, jump back on and go, oh, yep, just change that little bit of code. There we go. Should be fine now. Rather than with AAA studios that look into it and they spend a month, bug testing and figuring out and like, oh, we've fucked it. We have no idea what we've done.
I think that's what makes curators like yourself, or like Vince Steele, the whole E1M1 thing right now. It's not just the ability to like make a video or make an article and say like this good, this bad, or describe what you're talking about. It's the ability to like break down and explain why you have the opinion that you do. It really matters. I think, for instance, like if I'm into someone, like I follow someone because like I'm hoping they're going to curate content for me. It's not because they gave it a number of stars. It's not because they are eloquent with words. It's more like, what about my personality and your personality are the same or different? Doesn't matter which one. And based on your opinion, what would my opinion be? And then that's how I would then decide.
It's like I have always been quite a fan of Jim Sterling as a games reviewer. And, well, it could be argued that recently, as of the recent months, he's sort of taken a tumble down the insane hill. I still respect his opinions on a lot of games. Sure, he has hot takes on Twitter about many other things, a lot of which are political, and I'll leave that to one side. But, I like what he has to say about games a lot of the time, and there are many content creators I follow that are like that. I might not agree with anything they say, but what they say about games, I'm like, I can pick up what you're putting down there.
Yeah, it's like I said, it doesn't matter if we agree or not. Like, I don't need to know necessarily what G-Man thought of this game, right? I just need to know what G-Man thought of the game in terms of what I know about him. And then if we've disagreed before, that's fine. But I can form an opinion about what I will think based on what his opinion was, regardless of, it's not based on thumbs up or thumbs down. It's just based on how do we get there?
Yeah, it's like when I'm reviewing a game, I like to mention specifically aspects of the game. For example, the gameplay. If it has a story, the story, talk about what I like about it, what I don't like about it, what it could have done better, what it, arguably should have done better. Games that, for example, don't have an FOV slider. That's one of my big nitpicks in games.
Huge pet peeve of mine too.
Yes. I will always bring that up in a review, just to mention something like, this game does not have an FOV slider. It's super irritating. And I hope that...
the one where the FOV slider was vertical instead of horizontal?
Medieval.
Yes. Like, what the fuck was that?
Oh, God.
I never even noticed.
I hated it with a passion. I was thinking I slid that FOV slider right up to full. I was like, why am I still tunnel vision? Please explain to me what's going on. And I had a lot of trouble trying to work that out. And, basically, when I finally worked it out after, Googling it and trying to troubleshoot it, I ended up finding a forum post, an old archive forum post, with someone talking about it and how to set it properly. And then, got it quite wide FOV. I was like, right, now I can play the game properly. Because for me, like you say, FOV is a big pet peeve. It's like, I like the Quake level FOV, where you can see everything.
Yeah, fisheye view.
Definitely.
Especially in multiplayer, people get very strange with their setup and just like what's going to give me that edge and like the ability to see my opponent coming, all that. It's a whole rabbit hole, man. And in a single player game, it's just like, okay, well, what do I prefer, right? What makes me comfortable?
It's like in multiplayer games, you see people putting all the graphics down to low to get that extra couple of frames, or they put the grass density down to like minimal so they get that edge in seeing players at long range. It's like, oh
man, one of my favorites is Cygib. He's a Quake Pro League, Quake Champions player, and he's one of my favorites. And I've been following him forever. But I was at QuakeCon, and I was watching from his perspective, like looking over his shoulder, like, what the fuck is that? And he had his saturation like turned to this ridiculous. It's like didn't look like anything real. But it was just like, that's how I see the enemy before anyone else does. Like they're just this weird bright color. I'm like, I don't have to know what their character is or anything. I just need to fucking shoot them. Like it's,
Yeah,
or
definitely.
even
It's
Albright.
sort of like those people that play on keyboard, but they don't use WASD. They sort of like, I'm not sure which keys it is specifically. It's like TGFH or they use the Y key and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They have their
sideways, and you have have you ever seen Rafa play?
No.
Okay, so he's I don't think anybody would really argue, if not of all time, the greatest Quake player right now. But he plays with his keyboard on his lap, like Russian style, so that he has his arm over the desk and his keyboard in his lap. And there's other people who do this. It's not like a totally unique thing, and then so he's got the full desk to move his mouse on. And he plays, like you were saying, like with his hand like kind of sideways on the keyboard. So his keyboard setup is like, I'm probably going to misquote this, but like ERFD or some strange shit like that with, and then every weapon has its own hotkey. Yeah, it's a fucking crazy rabbit hole to go down. I'm hoping people aren't doing that with single player games.
No, let's hope not. I mean, with a single player game, you can set your keys to whatever you want. You can spend all the time in the world trying to perfect that, but why? Just keep it simple. It's like you don't gain a competitive edge from messing around too much with stuff like that.
Yeah. Another thing, kind of breaking the topic here, but got to move on at some point.
Of course.
That I really appreciate about what you do is you mentioned several different times that like your motivation here is like, I want to bring attention to these games. And there's fuck ton of reviewers out there that will make a review, and then the review is not about the fucking game. It's about they're promoting themselves. Like, the first thing you see in the description is like, here's my Patreon, and nothing wrong with like, here's my Patreon, here's my sponsor. Like there's nothing wrong with that. But then they don't mention the fucking game.
Oh yeah. I
leave
the whole like, comment, rate, share, subscribe thing right to the very end. The first thing I will do in each of these videos is I will mention E1M1. They go, look, if you like any of the sort of games here, join E1M1, talk to the guys there. You will never run out of boomer shooters. Because, of course, if you want this, you're going to want more.
Yeah.
So if you join E1M1, you can get chatting to the people there, and they will always have a suggestion for you, be it a new boomer shooter or whether it be an old shooter. Like, for example, it was Zach and Game Goblin that were talking to me about a game called Dark Messiah of Might and Magic. It's a game I had never heard of. It's an old game as well. I'd never heard of it. And they mentioned it to me, and they sent me one video that sold me. It was like this weird, it was like mixed to music, the combat. And I was like, I need this game. It's weird just as to how you can miss a game completely.
And it's really shit when you watch that video that sells you on something and then you can't find, like, where do I find the thing that you're talking about? And you go the extra. I know exactly I know every step of your pain. When you go back and you timestamp every little thing and you have like a million tabs open, like, okay, this game goes here, this game, okay, double check that I see that. Like, I've done it so many times. And it's not just, what the game is. For me, it's like, okay, did I find their Twitter? Did I put their Patreon in here? Did I get every way that I could possibly give people to reach out to this person or to find their whatever it is that they're doing? I make the effort.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm just fucking lazy and I'm like, all right, Twitter's good enough. Like their website's on the Twitter. That's plenty, but I do my best.
Yeah.
So
I try
the fact that you go the extra mile,
try and link to everybody's Steam pages, but of course not every game I cover has a Steam page. Some of them have itch pages, or some of them hell are just, demos that I found from Twitter, and they don't have any, digital sales set up yet.
Or even something as simple as just putting up a damn website for your game. That's like, here's the trailer and here's where you can follow us all. Like, that makes it really easy. It's just like, all right, there's our website. All of the links that you need are there. Done. It's something that like indie developers just fucking, I don't want to like broad brush it because there's a lot of people who are really good at it, but many of these people like don't see the value in promoting themselves, like the really going the extra mile to like present their product. It's just like, my art will speak for itself. People will come from all over the lands to see this statue of David and his giant penis. No, they won't actually. So, yeah, even something as simple as just having a web page up or anything.
Definitely.
Because there's a lot of games out there, like up until very recently, actually, Ozreek's game, I don't know why it's not coming to me right now, Viscera Fest, was like exclusively like come to our Discord. And that's cool, but like I'm in like 100 Discords, man. I can't keep up with everything.
I have so many Discords myself.
Yeah.
I like that Discord have finally added a feature that you can basically make folders for the types of Discords you're in. So I have ones for the YouTube communities that I'm a part of, because YouTube is obviously always plug their Discords, and I join them because I want to be updated on when their latest videos are, because God knows the algorithm on YouTube is awful most of the time. And so I follow a lot of YouTubers on there, and then I've got ones for various specific games, like, for example, PUBG, one for CSGO. I've got, loads of them for, multiplayer games that I might not play all the time, but when I do play, because I don't know many people that own the game, in my friends list, I want to play with somebody.
Yep.
And, otherwise I'm stuck randoming with people, and that's never fun.
100%. I have like... It's not even just broken down by like that. It's like, okay, these are companies of games. These are like indie games that I'm looking forward to that I just need to like, all right, it's 10 o'clock. I've got nothing else to do. Let's just check on every one of these Discords, or even just some that like I'm never going to look at unless I absolutely need it. Then I'm like, okay, like this is the file. That's
I have a lot of upcoming type games that I've joined the Discords for. Like I've joined, let's have a look. Valhalla, which is a game it's a Viking battle royale, and it's set to be coming out soon. But it's a done when it's done type game. They don't have a release date yet. And I've got another one somewhere. There was I can't remember the game they made, but I'm in a Discord called Neurometallity, and they're making a boomer shooter that's, again, done when it's done. And so I basically just stay in these Discords to be updated first and foremost as to when the game is coming out.
Yeah, and even then, it's like I got to separate the wheat from the chaff. Like, how am I going to find? Like, I can't just keep up. Like, I can't have a notification every time somebody publishes something on Discord.
Yeah,
so sometimes it's gotten to a point now where a lot of devs just like hit me up when they have something new. Like, hey man, like this. I'm like, fuck yeah, like this makes my life a lot easier. Like,
yeah, it's like one of them is Dying Light 2 that I've joined the Discord for that because of course I enjoyed the first Dying Light, and I enjoyed Dead Island back in the day, and I'm kind of bummed that it looks like we're not going to get Dead Island 2.
That's another thing is like when you get really invested in a project and then you realize like this is never going to happen, and especially if you put yourself out there and you said like this is going to be the best fucking thing ever, I'm super excited about it, and then it's just like such a disappointment all the way around. Have you seen, you mentioned the Caesar game earlier, have you seen Arthurian Legends?
No.
That's another one of those, like, as far as I know, they have a website, I know, but like the only place to really like stay in tune is on their Discord, which is not super active. But that game is as you were mentioning the Caesar earlier, I was thinking like, man, you got to check out Arthurian Legends, because it's like you play as King Arthur, and you're basically fighting against the Saxons, and it's very much like a like Brutal Doom looking kind of game. It feels that way. Yeah, but it's also got a bit of the item management RPG element to it too.
Checking on Google, I have clicked on their Steam page, for their artwork. So I am aware of it. It's just, completely slipped my mind. But they don't have a Steam page for the game yet, so Correct. I'll be able to wishlist it. Anything like that.
I can't wait till they do, man. I played the demo a while back, and it's very, nothing too crazy, like as far as like the amount of content in it. But just what little bit I played, I was like, it left me drooling. I'm like, I can't fucking wait to touch this game. Like, it's going to be epic. But I think it's one of those, like, when it's done, like, I'm taking my time. Eventually, when I'm ready to push it out to the public, that's another aspect of it too. Is like, when do you decide to let people know about your shit? Like,
Definitely, because if you let them know too soon, they're going to be pestering you. When's it ready? When's it ready? When's it ready? You said it was coming out this time. Said it was coming out that time. It's still not out. What's wrong with you? What are you doing? But if you let them know too late, they're like, well, yeah, the time's sort of gone now. You know, we've moved on from that whole, you know, era of games. And so, yeah, you have got to time it right.
I don't even want to begin to like think about the stress of what the developers go through just making those little decisions, if they're even able to make that decision. Sometimes it's just like my head's so deep into making the damn thing. Like, how do you come up for air and decide, like, make decisions about it? And like, who do you reach out to for advice? That's a great thing about the Realms Deep Discord, is like, there's just this constant wave of like all the different devs that are in there are always like, you know, we'll hit each other up for, what do you do about this? Like something as simple as like, where do you get fonts that won't get you sued? That kind of thing, or anything like that. Or what do you know, they talk about shit I don't understand, like that has to do with computer coding. I'm like, yeah, that sounds cool. Awesome. But, or graphic design, that's a whole other fucking ball game. I guess you guys get that a bit now in the E1M1 Discord too.
Yeah, we have there's quite a few devs in there for their game, and they use E1M1 as a sort of stepping stone for, you know, their marketing, which I guess is good, because of course everybody in the E1M1 Discord is there for boomer shooters. And so if you're developing a boomer shooter and you're a developer and you come to E1M1, you say, hey guys, this is a game I'm developing, check it out. Almost everyone in that server is going to.
It really is, I don't know, a bit of a pet peeve of mine when communities are very strict about like no self-promotion or whatever. They get like peeved about that shit. And I get it too. Like if it's your brand, right? Like if you come into the, I don't know, Dread XP Discord and all you do is just like, hey, check out my new game. Like, well, they sell games. So like maybe they don't want just their whole server to be flooded with just self-promotion of other shit that has nothing to do with what they
it's
do.
like people piggybacking off the success of others.
In a way. But in your guys' case, right? Like this is like a, you know, we're selling a magazine about what you're selling. So like, come show us what you got. And like, it's like their proving ground. Like they're trying, essentially they're trying to get your attention. Hopefully they will get some promotion out of it.
One of the lovely things that I like so much about UNM1 though is, for example, video creators like myself and, you know, there's numerous others in the Discord. We have a chat for posting your videos, and, you know, we have a content creator role. So if a developer decides, oh, I'm making this new boomer shooter, I want some people to test it and do a review on it, they will at your role and they'll give you a link. I've had in this new video that I'm doing, about 2 or 3 of the games that I've got from it are wishlisted from, well, gifted to me from developers.
Yeah.
Which is awesome, you know, because that helps me out. It saves me money. You know, it's not a lot of money to spend because they do tend to be around £15 odd, you know, not a lot of money at all. But the less I have to spend, the better, obviously. And obviously they give it for free and I can then review it. But I try to make sure that with me reviewing a game that I received for free, that doesn't affect my final judgment on the game, you know.
This might be different for most people. I tend to value things that I pay for more than things I got for free.
Definitely, yes.
So to avoid exactly that issue, I have made it a rule for myself that when someone gives me a game that, you know, costs money for free, I will buy it for someone else. Like that is my rule. Like pay it forward. And I can't afford to obviously just do that forever, but like stuff that's like, okay, well, this is fucking awesome. I got to share this with other people. At least I'm getting a second opinion out of this. Like,
yeah, true.
At the end of the day. So I don't know, but that is weird. So you guys like have the role for like, okay, content creators, and then they can just ping all of you and say like, hey, who wants to review my shit? I'll give you a key.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. In my server, that role is me. Like, sometimes I just have to like, I did this like a week or so ago. I was just like, all right, look, I'm going offline. I can't take any more. Leave me alone. I have to find time to edit.
Yeah, definitely. It's like with me, I don't get videos out on a schedule. I don't have a schedule set up for my videos at all. But currently working in the role I do, I work in a shop.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be possible at all, because if I said to myself, I'll script on Wednesdays, record on Thursdays, edit on Fridays, I guarantee you that'll work for a week or two. Then someone will be off sick, and that'll be in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That'll be my week and my schedule, my plan. Fucked. Everything just goes up in flames.
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned earlier to you, like I'm a shift worker, so like there's no way I'm gonna like always have the same days off and like be able to say like, all right, on this day I'm gonna do that. But for me, come hell or high water, there will be a podcast on Tuesday, every Tuesday, unless I have some extenuating circumstance or like we're taking off for a holiday or something like that. But even then, I usually feel guilty and do like a solo cast or just something. Because I mean, first of all, like it's just good for content creation to be like they can depend on it to come at a certain time. But also, I feel like I don't like, I wouldn't just know this automatically, but having interacted with the folks who listen to the show, like some of them really just like look forward to it. And a lot of people are sort of like reclusive, you know, like they don't do a lot socially. And I've gotten people that have messaged me and said like, hey, you know, I was having a hard day and your newest podcast was like, you know, in my queue. And I listened to you while I was going through this hard thing and I was at work and I couldn't deal with it. And so like, I feel almost like a moral obligation. Like I need to, those are my fans. Those are the people who I really
definitely.
Feel.
I've had a few comments like that on my videos, you know, people saying your videos are great. They're just what I need. I'm like, great. I hope I can keep doing that for you. You know, of course, you know, you will get the occasional, you know, jeery comment that's like, oh, you suck. He's like, cool.
Yeah.
But,
well, I say, you finish.
Sorry. What was it? I had one guy comment on one of my videos the other week saying, why is it that everybody in the boomer shooter community has watched Ash vs. Evil Dead? And I was like, just blame John St. John.
It's my boomstick.
Yes. Hail to the king, baby.
Yeah, all that. Like it's like integral, or even like Caleb had a lot of stuff like that. It's you're like not the first. You're not even the second or third person who's like brought up at like Evil Dead, because it is for some reason like the same people who are into Doom. It just makes perfect sense that they would be into Evil Dead. Like,
definitely.
I think that's the beauty of it. I'm going off on a tangent now too, but like that's the beauty of the fact that you. I think I said this earlier about like reviewing. The fact that I know you like this kind of game means that we're going to have other things about our personalities in common.
Definitely.
Like it's just there's no getting around that. We're going to have some. I'm almost like bewildered when I interact. Like Jake was a good example. Like I'm like, oh, you don't like this thing or that thing, or you don't like even something as simple as like, I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't party. Like, just took me. I'm like, whoa, I just assumed we were the same person.
Yeah, I get that. It's nice when you find common ground with people, especially, you know, as you say, influences, because then you think to yourself, wow, I'm a lot more like you than I thought. Yeah, I listen to you for your opinions and, you know, your thoughts and stuff like that, and you are a lot more like me than I realized, type deal.
That's how you sink the hook in, man. Like when you make that personal connection, like that. That sounded kind of predatory. I didn't mean it. That's. I mean, when you make a personal connection with someone, like when they care about you, they don't just care about like what your review is or what game you're talking about. They care about, oh, I'm tuning in to see PapaScho's Sco. God damn it.
No worries.
Papa
Everyone
Sco's,
gets it.
New video, because it's PapaScho. That's when you like, all right, now you're winning. Like you're taking it to a whole new level of what your fans are tuning in to see. Oh, what I had a fucking thought and I forgot what it was. It was this. So in terms of getting your shit out, if you want to, you know, you said it's like almost impossible to do it on a regular basis. What I do is I record a bunch of interviews, you know, like this weekend I said, like I'm doing you today, someone else tomorrow, maybe someone else on Sunday. And then I'm going to take a few weeks off, and whatever free time I have that's not, you know, personal fun time will be, all right, and I'm going to edit these out and I'm going to get them out before the Tuesday that they align with. Like that's
definitely
my way of doing it. which
Yeah.
can be stressful.
I suppose so, but with my style, obviously, because I need to review 7 or 8 different titles per episode, I need to buy 7 or 8 games per episode. And so if Payday's passed me by, I think to myself, oh, fuck, I'm going to have to wait a month now for this one.
Yeah. I've been in situations, man, where like I saw like a review or something, or Twitter post, and I'm like, that looks fucking awesome. I'm just gonna shot in the dark, see if they respond. And I'm like, hey, you want to be on the show sometime? And most of the time, it takes a while to respond or whatever. But every once in a while, I get like an immediate like, yes, I'll be on. Like, can you do this Saturday? And I'm like, fuck, I have to play the game now, and I'm just gonna like quickly do it. So in your case, like as you were saying, like your style, it's not just the creation of the video. It's like you've got to play like 5 or 6, maybe more games to even get to the point where you can start
Yeah.
the video. Yeah. Okay. That sucks. I'm sorry. Sorry for your loss.
That's fine. It's just a case of like, I have to, record the game, write what I thought about the game, then record another game, write what I thought about that game. I have to keep doing that until I have enough games for a video to put together.
Yeah.
And then I've got to figure out what order to put them in, because sometimes the order I record and write them in isn't the best order, because of course I might have accidentally played the best game in that list first. And I don't want to put it first, because then of course people will tune in, watch that, 5 minutes, done. And they won't stay for the rest of them. Sort of thing.
Do you like take notes as you play, or do you like play it and then sit down afterwards? And
a bit of both. I'll take basic notes as I play. I'll have a little pen and paper by me, and I'm like, okay, this enemy type, quite like that, like the way this mechanic in the game. And then I stop playing after recording a decent length. I go, right, time to put my notes into paragraphs now, and to really think about what it is I'm trying to say. And so then I brainstorm and think of the best way to get my opinion across.
I find it like I guess it depends on what reason I'm playing the game for. Like if it's just for pure enjoyment, I don't do any of that shit. But like okay, let's just say someone were to like, hey, here's my demo, will you check this out? And I'm like, yeah, absolutely, it looks great. In that case, I have a notepad or a Word document or something open, and as soon as I see an issue, tab out, write it down. Or not necessarily an issue, but just a thought comes up.
Definitely.
Because I want to give them that meticulous like feedback of like, these are the things that I noticed and how I think you could either improve or like keep doing that kind of thing.
Yeah, that happens to me a lot when it comes to various bugs that I find in games, or various little things that just tick me off a teeny bit. Like, for example, no FOV slider, or I find a bizarre bug in a game that it's not game breaking, it's just irritating. And I think to myself, I need to write that down before I completely forget about it, because if I'm sitting here recording 2 hours worth of gameplay, I'm going to completely blank by the time I finish.
100%, man. And like most of it, like in my real job, like most everything, like I never write anything down. In fact, I think that, like even in school, like I didn't write notes when I was listening, because I guess I'm like an auditory or conversational learner. So it like breaks my ability to concentrate. I actually retain information more by just experiencing it in the moment and then coming up with my thoughts later. But no one is immune to just completely like at the end of it, like, oh, I forgot what my thought was.
Yeah, that's a big problem, especially, when I get done playing for 2 hours, I'm like, fuck, what was the thing I was going to say at the very beginning of that video? I'm like, I don't have to go through another 2 hours of playing the game just to remember that.
Yeah.
It becomes such a bit of a drain, really.
Speaking of 2 hours, we are now at the 2 hour mark of this recording.
Yeah.
As I told you beforehand, I'm always like, we could talk for as long as you want, but I also want to respect that you have shit to do.
Yeah.
So at this point, I'll offer it up. Like, do you want to just plug your thoughts, like final closing thoughts, and get on with your life?
Yeah, because I have got to walk the dog, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, I don't really have much in terms of closing thoughts, man. It's been fun.
Come back anytime, man.
No worries.
I love the ability to have like kind of a rotating cast of like, okay, because a lot of the time it's just like, okay, here's a video game developer, one hit, and we'll see them later whenever they have more content or something like that. But I also really like having people who are, just have lots of thoughts and like interesting things to say that can kind of recur and like, hey, what's going on in your life now? And especially content creators like yourself, because I can check in and be like, all right, fill me in on all the shit that I didn't pick up. Or like, what's going on in your life now? How have you changed? How's your content changed? Like, that's really fun for me. So definitely anytime you want, just hit me up, come back.
No worries, man. Really Sounds great.
And I also want to say, like, again, I think I've kissed your ass enough, but I'll do it one more time. I really like your videos, man. I'm really enjoying watching you improve over time. And I think what you're doing, not just with your personal stuff, but also with E1M1 has been invaluable to this whole community at large.
Yeah, those guys have been amazing. They've been big help, big support in, furthering my series so far. Be it from developers offering me free keys for games or, I made a joke in my last video with Zach and Jake. I was like, when am I getting my E1M1 sponsorship, boys? And that was intended as a complete joke. Then Zach came through for me and goes, here, I've got you like 2 or 3 keys to games here. I was like, really didn't have to do that, bro. Thank you. It just helps me out a little.
I imagine you being around and available and helpful will pay off later when they're like, hey, man, we should make some video content for our, site or whatever the fuck to advertise.
Can only hope so. If ever they need any video content or anything like that, or they want, to be featured in a video, come to me, I'm your man.
All right, brother. Thank you very much.
No worries. See you soon, bro.
Take care. Thank you very, very much to PapaScho for coming on the show. It was really cool. I had a great time talking to him. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with him equally as much as I did. If you're still here, which you evidently are if you're hearing this, I would like to say, first of all, thank you for listening. You're awesome. Also want to say thank you to Immorpher for this awesome-ass track that we're doing in the background here. This, I believe, is going to be part of his Doom 64 WAD, mod, whatever the hell they call it in N64 world. But it's fucking awesome. It's a bit different than the usual stuff we get from him, because it's usually the dark ambient thing, but this is kind of heavy metal, which I like. I'd like to hear more stuff like this from him as well. If you want to follow Immorpher, definitely go to his Bandcamp page and buy all his shit. I'll leave a link in the episode notes. He is amazing. If you would like to support In the Keep podcast because you're such a big fan, of course the number one way to do so is to simply tell people about it. You can leave likes, reviews, subscribe on whatever the hell you listen to, if that's YouTube or I don't know, Spotify, iTunes, Google, Ghana. That's the biggest one now. I think it's actually the second biggest place where people listen to the show now. So shout out to all my fucking friends in India. You guys kick ass. Gotta say thank you to our Patreon supporters. And before I read that list off, I want to say that, hey, if you want to be featured on this list, all you gotta do is become a Patreon supporter. All folks who sign up, no matter what tier they are, once you've broken $25 in total donations, no matter what tier again, you get a t-shirt with In the Keep logo on it, so you can represent. Also, of course, you get your name shouted out on the podcast. You get access to the exclusive In the Keep podcast Discord server. I try to always let people know who I'm going to be interviewing next. I'll leave it open to if you want to ask questions or feature them in the podcast themselves. Doesn't always work out that way because sometimes it's like, oh shit, quick turnaround. But like, if it's during the daytime and I can reasonably expect people to be around, I'll let you know who we're going to talk to next. And, of course, you always get access to episodes early before they're released. So, thank you to Paul, Moose, Dots, Zach, Alexander, Brad, Red Eyes, Anthony, Robert, Jack, Brandy, Fred, Lord Revan, Tones, Igrax Simon, Immorpher, and all of the Flam Fam. You can also go to inthekeep.com/support. There you'll see all of our links, including our Amazon affiliate link. Great way to donate without actually costing yourself anything extra. Just click on that link, do your shopping, we get a kickback. You don't have to do anything extra, that's all. Thank you very much. I love you. The Drowned God Katala loves you. And until next time, stay in the keep.